Hi, you're watching Remake TV, and this is The Elephant in the Room. On this episode, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of young people are experiencing these days. You go to university, you spend $20,000 or more on a degree, and then what happens? Either you can't work in your field, you take up a minimum wage job, or you do work in your field, but you're being treated like somebody who doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the degree. So on this show today, we have Carly and Jeremy, each who have two very separate, very interesting stories. So Carly, let's start with you. Why don't you tell me your story? What did you take in school?
I took a culinary management degree, and I've worked internationally. I've worked locally doing different internships and everything, and I found that regardless of where you go, really, no matter what, if you have schooling or not, you're still going to start out on the very, very bottom. So I'd be making the exact same wages as someone they pulled off the street, basically.
Someone who may not have any training in culinary or anything?
No training whatsoever. Actually, at my last job, I was teaching half of the staff how to hold a knife properly, and it's kind of scary because you're supposed to be a professional. If you're in the kitchen already, you're supposed to know how to do that. So yeah, I did, like I said, I did 2 years, and then I went to England and studied there for another 8 months, and I still made the exact same wage with the people. They just said, hey, yeah, do you want to cook? So yeah, it was kind of scary. You wonder why you spend so much money and time investing into your school if you're going to make the exact same as the people who just walk in off the street.
Absolutely, and I don't want a finger in my food or anything like that. I would prefer that the chefs in the kitchen have some sort of experience. And Jeremy, what's your story?
Actually, very, very similar. I went to the school because I didn't really want to go to a 4-year school.
Okay.
Looked great. It was 13 months in and out. And very much the same, actually, yeah, in terms of the fact that I found out afterwards that whether I had the schooling or not, I pretty much would have been starting off at the bottom. I've met people who were in positions that I was working on film sets that didn't go to school at all.
What did you take in school?
I was digital film and television production.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you want to go with that?
Like pretty much everyone who goes to film school, I wanted to do the whole director thing.
Yeah.
Be like the Scorseses, the Coppolas, things like that. Have that much control, but that's extremely hard and really, really rare unless you're willing to invest in yourself.
Yeah. So for both of you, you both went to school and it didn't work out. What spurred you on when you were younger to go to university? Was it something that you would always do? You know, your families were like, of course you have to go to some sort of post-secondary education, or did you think that this would really help you get ahead?
I definitely did think it was along the family lines. Like you said, it's expected. You're done high school, move on, keep going. You need to keep up with your education. And also you do, like being brought up, you're taught that you need to go to secondary and keep getting an education, and you will make more money and you'll be off in a better place. But in my career choice, that's not at all the case. I'm actually in a worse place now because now I have thousands of dollars worth of debt I need to pay off for spending that time and that money in getting school. So.
And you moved away from home to go to school as well.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, you did a similar thing.
I did, yeah. I moved from my hometown. Actually, just pretty much came here just to go to school. That was one of the main reasons I went to school, to get out. In my case, post-secondary, I was pretty much one of the first people, at least in my immediate family, to go to post-secondary. So it was basically a very blue-collar life. Done school, start working until you die. Yeah.
So you were breaking the mold.
Very much so, yeah.
Okay. And there was no one in your family, as you said, who told you, of course you need to go to school to get a job?
None of that.
So would you say this was kind of a result of modern society? Get a degree, you get a better job?
Within reason, yeah. A lot of it came down to wanting to learn in the industry because I was always fascinated by movies. And also I knew going there to make certain contacts that hopefully would help out. Which, starting things on your own, you can't really, you don't really have any contacts if you're just starting off by yourself. So that was one of the other reasons I went to school, but it was definitely a step up.
Now, can you tell me what your experience was coming out of school? You took your 2-year degree, you moved away, you accrued debt, I assume. You came out of school with a degree, and then what happened?
I was pretty much in the same spot I was before I went to school in terms of working a job that, it's a good job, but you always want to be doing something different. You always want to do what you went to school for. Yeah. So it's pretty much in the exact same position, which I found pretty staggering.
Did school give you any sort of experience in terms of internships or anything?
Not really internships so much, but a lot of student shoots that you're on. Everyone's trying to film something for their final project, things like that. So, I found myself being on a lot of film sets, which was an awesome experience. I mean, I would never ever knock.
And Carly, you took a 2-year degree and then continued to study internationally.
Yeah.
So part of your job was to work. You got work experience in an internship. And then what happened?
Really, it's kind of, you do your internship, which is still connected to the school, and the
Yes.
schooling was wonderful. I'm not knocking that whatsoever. It was great, lots of opportunities, but then you kind of go off into the real world, and the real world is not the same whatsoever. You go and you get a job like you would get anywhere, come back to the country, get a job, and it's nothing like you'd expect it to be. Like I said, you come into a restaurant that's supposed to be very professional, and you come in and you're the only one who knows like how to hold a knife properly, or how to be able to take care of things in the kitchen, how they're supposed to run along smoothly, and timing and presentation is a huge one. And it's just, people don't really expect it, you know what I mean? They kind of just go, oh no, you can cook, you can do whatever you want, sort of a thing, like to anyone on the street, when it's not really the case. There's a lot of things to do behind that, you know?
So you found that your first job out of school, it was being run unprofessionally?
Yes, very much so. Even with my international internship, it was a lovely place to learn, but it was, like I said, even there, I think 90% of the people had zero schooling background to do with it. It was all just people who, when they're younger, 17 or 18, they're just looking for a job, and they just kind of kept going with it. So yeah, it was sort of the same thing you said, blue collar. As soon as you're done high school, you just go and work. Well, that would be the same thing these people were doing. They just went and got a job. No schooling whatsoever.
Now, do you guys feel that your personal degrees, like you took culinary and you took film, were tougher to get into than other industries? For example, if you took maybe a business degree, a management degree, or do you feel that you were put at a disadvantage because you didn't need these degrees, or you just had bad luck? I mean, what do you feel?
Believe it or not, actually, I mean, there were definitely some people who did complain about schooling, but personally, I did enjoy it. I mean, I definitely learned a lot of practical things that did help me, when I was on a film set. I can walk onto any film set right now, and I can at least do, at least basic gaffing and gripping, which is at least something. So I did get practical experience.
Right.
The first day I was in there, we were actually touching the equipment, as opposed to the 4-year schools, where, they're third year and they still don't really know what a lot of the equipment is.
Yeah.
It's mainly theory. So in that sense, I definitely enjoyed. I thought it was really worthwhile in that sense. It's just, with film, it's very, very competitive, very, very tough. I can very much even remember just thinking one night the sheer mathematics of how many people around the world are graduating similar film schools at the same time that we are. And at the end of the day, everyone wants to work. I mean, not so everyone, but most people would like to work in an industry like that, as opposed to going to a 9-to-5 office type job.
No schooling whatsoever.
Now, do you guys feel that your personal degrees, like you took culinary and you took film, were tougher to get into than other industries? For example, if you took maybe a business degree, a management degree, or do you feel that you were put at a disadvantage because you didn't need these degrees, or you just had bad luck? I mean, what do you feel?
Believe it or not, actually, I mean, there were definitely some people who did complain about schooling, but personally, I did enjoy it. I mean, I definitely learned a lot of practical things that did help me, when I was on a film set. I can walk onto any film set right now, and I can at least do, at least basic gaffing and gripping, which is at least something. So I did get practical experience.
Right. The
first day I was in there, we were actually touching the equipment, as opposed to the 4-year schools, where, they're third year and they still don't really know what a lot of the equipment is. It's mainly theory. So in that sense, I definitely enjoyed. I thought it was really worthwhile in that sense. It's just, with film, it's very, very competitive, very, very tough. I can very much even remember just thinking one night the sheer mathematics of how many people around the world are graduating similar film schools at the same time that we are. And at the end of the day, everyone wants to work. I mean, not so everyone, but most people would like to work in an industry like that, as opposed to going to a 9-to-5 office type job. So there's definitely.
And how do you feel, Carly?
It's sort of the same, I suppose. I would have to say, like, with mine, for example, you know how you were saying if you would have an advantage or a disadvantage?
Yes.
So ours, say if I were to apply at one restaurant and someone who had the same amount of years of experience rather than schooling, so I did 2 years of schooling, if they had 2 years of experience, they would have more advantages than me, than I would say, truthfully.
Really?
So they would look at your schooling and say, oh, that's wonderful, but you really don't have any work experience to back this, so why would we give you this position when we know this guy over here knows exactly what he's doing and has done it for 2 years?
So do you guys feel that post-secondary education is becoming obsolete?
I think in my field, yes.
In your field?
Yes, truthfully.
Okay.
You learn a lot of things that are really old school, I would say, like a lot of things that throughout my entire rest of my career, I won't ever need to use them again. Some things you learn are really wonderful and you can build off them and keep growing, but the majority of things you don't use, and it's really when you get into a restaurant, you do like an Italian restaurant, you only do Italian, right? So all those other things you spent thousands of dollars learning, they're completely void. So,
Jeremy, do you feel it's obsolete, or it was just bad luck?
I think it's Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, with a film school, a lot of the stuff that you want to learn, you can just do. You can learn by doing it yourself. If you want to be a director, get a camera, get some buddies, film something, and you hopefully become better. If you want to learn really great shot composition, then yeah, there are certain things that schools can teach you that would take years to learn on your own. There's a lot of trial and error. I went in as a writer, so learning screenwriting for me, I was a little bit ahead of the grade, but that's one of the few cases. I just really think it just depends on really what you want to do within that industry, as far as whether it's obsolete or not.
And what are you doing now, Jeremy?
Beyond my job.
No, your job? You are not working in your field?
That's right, yeah. I'm not currently working in my field. Like, I get, the occasional film gig here or there, but the reality of it is that a lot of it is, buddies wanting you to work for free, which is all well and good when you're living at home. But if you're living on your own, trying to pay your own bills, it's kind of, do I take a day off to work 15 hours potentially for free, or for $100 I might see a month later?
Yeah.
Or do I go to work where I'm not as satisfied, but at least I know I'm going to be paying my bills, paying my rent, and that's, at the end of the day, what the important thing is.
Yes, and at the end of the day, you can't pay your bills on a deferred payment or sunshine and lollipops, all of these great things. We will be right back in just a moment. While you guys are going to get a drink, walk the dog, get a blanket if you're cold, make sure to enter our contest on the break. We have a great contest going on. Refer your friends to Remake TV. Tell them all about the great videos that you love watching. You're already here. I'm sure you're having a great time, and you can get a chance to win $500 at the end of the month. $500 for every friend you refer. You get another chance to get closer to that free money. So check out our contest, or you can enter it on Facebook where all your friends are already listed. Catch you soon.